Hey, what's up? Welcome everybody to your author training today. Let me just look you in the eye and just say the world needs you now. The world needs your message. The world needs your story. I don't know if you've looked at the news recently, but the world is like in a really dark place. There's a verse in Isaiah 60 that says, "Darkness has covered the earth, thick darkness the people, but you shall arise, and the Lord will arise on you." This is a paraphrase at this point. And kings will come to your light and nations to the brightness of your rising. And I just want to just tell you, if you have not written a book and shared your message with the world, now's the time. If you have written a book and it didn't turn out the way that you wanted to, guess what? Now's the time for your second try. I've got a stack of books in front of me, and this book right here is my first book. I'm going to tell you the story of my book writing journey. And I just want to just be pretty transparent and honest with you and tell you this is a really okay book. It's not good. It's not great. It's not excellent. It's not noteworthy. I call it my 50 page book jammed into 98 pages. And so yeah, this is my first book. By the way, if you have an AI assistant, could you please not post like a 9,000 word thing into chat? And if my team can delete that, that would be awesome. All right, so what are we going to cover today? First things first, I'm going to talk about why you would write a book. Then I'm going to jump up on the whiteboard and I'm going to go step by step by step into the process of writing a book. I will tell you that most people that I know, certainly most entrepreneurs, like literally 100% of the entrepreneurs that I know, have a book in their heart and their head, but by the time they get it onto paper, it's not the book that they had in their head or in their heart. My job and Nicole's job today, and I'm going to be introducing in just a moment, actually, my publisher. I'm going to teach for a little while, then I'm going to bring out Nicole. And what we're going to do today, just to give you the outline for today, I'm going to share for just a little bit and just dump some content like in a really good way. So grab a pen and get ready to take some notes. Then what I'm going to do in about 30 minutes or so is I'm going to introduce Nicole. She's going to fill in some of the gaps and some of the stuff I taught. Maybe just go a little bit deeper. Just so you know, Nicole is my publisher, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about different publishing models like traditional publishing, like Random House, and why you may or may not want to work with them. I'm going to talk to you about self-publishing and the advantages of publishing on platforms, for example, like Amazon. Then I'm going to talk to you about a completely different kind of publishing where you actually get your book published professionally, but you actually get all the benefits of self-publishing. And we're going to get through all of that as well. Some of you know we have an event coming up in March called Top Gun Author. I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll give you one really awesome bonus if you want to enroll in that course. And I'm going to give you actually a discount too. It's a very expensive course, but I'm going to give you a nice discount. And then what we're going to do, and this is the part that I'm actually looking forward to the most, is we're going to open it up for Q&A. So underneath you, if you're on a computer, I don't know where it is on your phone, probably top right, but underneath you, there's a button that says Q&A, okay? When you open that Q&A, like for example, right here, I see there's no questions inside the Q&A, but when you click that, what it allows you to do is ask a question about publishing, writing, promoting a book, growing your brand or your audience or whatever it is that you want to cover. And when you ask the question that way, it shows up on our screen so that we can see it. Now, you can ask your question in chat if you want to. That's totally cool if you want to do that. The only challenge is chat goes boom, like on a thing like this, chat goes super fast, okay? And so we want to be able to be here, answer your question. We're going to give you some time today, a little bit more than we normally do, just to interact with you, to connect with you, and to answer your questions. Before we get started, let me say a quick prayer, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling. Thank you, Lord. We pray your blessing on everybody who's joined us today. Pray that you would bless them in their mind, Lord, that you would give them the most awesome book ever to help grow and change the world. In your name, amen. Now, let me just tell you, I am rooting for you, okay? There's a lot of people in the author space who get really weird about other people publishing books. I've never been that way. I've helped literally at this point well over 1,200 people. That's 1,200 people write and publish their books. Almost every single one of them, by the way, reached at some point bestseller status in their category, typically on Amazon, so they could call themselves a bestseller. And my vision for you is really simple. If I can help you write and publish a book and tell your story, it makes it so much easier for me and everyone else to accomplish our mission. God has given you something extraordinary to do in the world. He doesn't have a plan B. There's no competition. Everybody who thinks there's competition, there's no competition. You are designed as a total unique person. You have a totally unique mission. So when you accomplish your mission, it helps me accomplish my mission, and we can go totally do that. Okay, so now grab a pen and get ready to write some stuff down. And I'm going to just give you a challenge. My challenge is really simple. I want you to be able to watch this and focus on this without any distractions. I know it's challenging in today's world. There's lots of social media distractions. You got your email. Just give me a good solid 20 to 30 minutes to focus in. And my goal for you is, as I'm sharing this, what I'm asking God to do is actually just sort of start dropping some ideas in you. Okay. And I think about it this way. An idea is going to come flying in through the wall over there in your room, and it's going to go flying out that wall. And if you're paying attention, if you're focused and not distracted, you're going to be able to grab a hold of that idea. Okay, so let's focus a little bit while you're doing that. By the way, while I'm teaching, what I would love for you to do in chat, I'm not going to be able to see all this, and some of you already answered this question, but if you answered it, tell us again. What I want to know is, if you've written a book, tell us the name of the book. Don't put the link in. Okay, I don't need 1,000 links. Just put the name of your book, okay? And if you're thinking about writing a book, or you're in process of writing a book, tell us what the topic is, or what the working title is, or whatever of your book. All right. Now, before I do that, I want to take you back to 2008. The first book that I ever wrote. I was a year and a half, 2 years out of the Marine Corps, and I wrote this book. You can see the book. I call this my Battlestar Galactica cover. By the way, you can still get this book on Amazon. I do not recommend it. It is an okay book. Like I said, it's not a great book. It's just an okay book. It was, just so you know, the best book that I had in me at the time. And I tell this story just to let you know that when you get started in the writing process, I'm assuming you're going to be way better than I was. But when you get started in the writing process, it's actually okay to be okay. Now, I didn't like, eventually the cover kind of got on me. It's just like, I don't know how this cover got created. I think actually I did some of this. Oh, man. And so what I did several years later is I actually just created a totally new cover. I actually retitled the book. It's something you can relaunch, like a version 2 of a book if you want to. I retitled the book, and I went from, the title of this one was Fighter Pilot Performance for Business. And this one's called Take the Shot, Top Gun Tips for Productivity, Profit, and Peace of Mind. And this book is the same book. By the way, it's not any better. Inside, it just looks better. Now, just letting you know, sometimes this book on the bottom here, you know I was going to get to this. This book is called God Talks. This is one of the top-selling books, probably in its category. This book creates a lot of sales on a very consistent basis. I'll talk to you about that in a second. And it's a really good book, okay? I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you, it reads really well. It's got some good stories. It's got some humor inside of it and everything. It's a really good book. It's nothing like this book, okay? And the reason that I start with this book, just to tell you, is that, like, you know, sometimes, like anything, writing is a learning process, and you do it by doing it. And sometimes, to get to your second or third book that changes the world, you got to write this first book, okay? And so that's why I want to tell you that story. Now, the second book that I wrote is a book called How to Turn Clicks into Clients. And if you've read the story on the Top Gun author page that talks about the event, that story is actually about this particular book. I started a business in 2012. We were marketing to attorneys. My idea, by the way, and by 2012, by the way, I had already had my first 7-figure year. So I was already very successful in business. I was rocking and rolling. I formed a business with 2 partners. I owned basically half of the company, and we were going to market marketing services to attorneys. My job was just to do the marketing. I wasn't even doing the services. And I was like, hey guys, we're going to go speak. We're going to go speak at bar associations, and people are going to sign up there. So we started reaching out to bar associations, and in like 6 months, we got nobody. Like, nobody said yes. Now, nobody said no, because, you know, people don't say no. You call and you're like, hey, would you like us to come in and speak? And they're like, yeah, let's check our calendar. It's like, they never say no. They're like, I don't know, like, you know, like, maybe reach out in a few months and we'll see if it's a good fit or whatever. They basically lie, okay? And we didn't get any talks. In fact, we had one talk. My buddy was friends with the person who ran the bar association up in Seattle. And so we had one talk. And then on a whim, it wasn't even my idea, by the way, we published this book. And it was a book about, essentially a book about how to market a law office online. And I always joke with people, I'm like, this book could have been empty. You know those empty books that, like, the many achievements of the Clinton administration or whatever. What men know about women. And you open the book and it's like a gag book. It's empty. I always tell people, the book is a pretty good book, but the book could have been empty. It literally could have been empty, because just having a book made a huge difference. And we started reaching out to bar associations and saying, hey, we're the authors of the book, How to Turn Clicks into Clients. We're on a book tour. As a part of our book tour, we're on a speaking tour. And if you'd like us to come in and speak, just let us know. And that year, instead of having one talk, we had 48 bar association talks. It was almost one every single week throughout the year. And in 1 year, we had a 7-figure business, where the previous year we had basically nothing. And the difference was this book. and the doors that this book opened. Now, I just want to be really direct and transparent with you. It's a good book. I mean, it's outdated now because it was written in 2012, but it's a good book. It's laid out. It looks really nice inside, but it didn't need to be. The only thing that mattered to the bar associations was that we were published authors. And the fact that we were published authors checked a box for them that meant credibility. In other words, what it meant to them is, oh, these guys have been vetted. They've been already vetted. Clearly, they've been vetted if they have a book, on Amazon. And the truth is, we hadn't. We just self-published the book, but we earned credibility in their eyes. And literally, we would go in and speak at the bar associations, and people would come up to us and ask the following question. Check this out. They would go, "Hey, we have a contract with FindLaw, but I think we should cancel that contract and go with you guys. What do you think?" Now, let me let you know, whenever someone comes up to you and asks you if they should leave their contract and pay you money instead of someone else, it's a really big deal. And that's what this book opened up for us. Now, in 2012, a little bit later that year, I had a passion. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to write a book to help people, specifically men, fight better for their faith. And so I wrote this book called Warrior. It is called Warrior: How to Fight for Your Faith, Family, Finances, and Future. Just want to let you know, of all the books I ever wrote, this one performed the worst. I don't even know why. I'm almost embarrassed to say why. I think part of it was the fact that people don't want to fight. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just the book or the title or whatever. And I look back, I just want to let you know, I had great dreams and plans for this particular book. And I look back and I say, thank you, Lord. I know thank you, Chris Castillo. Warrior's it really is. It's a great book. It's got a new cover. It actually has a new subtitle. I changed the subtitle. This is between me and you, okay? I changed the subtitle to Warrior: The Furious Love of the God Who Fights for You. And it sold a lot better that way. I think that's because people would rather let God fight for them than do their own fighting, okay? But look, I wrote that book because I had a message inside of me. I wrote that book because I had a passionate desire to share a message. And the truth is, I actually didn't even care how much it sold. I was just simply interested in sharing my message. And some of you, as you're watching today, you're like, Ed, that's me. I don't care if I make money. It would be nice if I did. By the way, Warrior's selling a lot better now that I got God Talks out there. So all of a sudden, this boat, rising tide lifts all boats. This one boat going up, all of a sudden the other boat started going up. And the truth is, it actually is a really good book, bringing you into 2017, and actually my fifth book. And I would just go so far as to say my first success. I wrote a book called 21 Day Miracle: How to Change Anything in 3 Short Weeks. By the way, a little fun insider story, because Nicole was watching that video, the preview video, and she was like, "Oh, that's young Ed." So this book here, see the cover? It's got me in a flight suit. I handed this book. This is not a joke, and also it is kind of funny, even though it's not a joke. This is word for word. I literally handed this book to a guy at an event. I handed it to him. He looked at the book. He looked at me. He looked at the book. He looked at me, and he goes, "Is that you?" He's like, "Is that you?" Oh, I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "Shut up, man." So, it's like, "Is that you?" So anyway, so this is a fun, fast book, and it sold like crazy. At one point, we were the #1 best-selling book in India for 3 straight weeks. At one point, this was the number 22 book over all books over Amazon. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this, I did 0 marketing. I did nothing. I didn't do barely any TV, radio. I didn't try to push this book. The truth is, by the time I finished this book, I was ready to move on. I was ready to do something else. I wasn't even interested in it, actually. It's like there's some dysfunction. I'm just admitting some things. This is a little therapy for me today. There's some dysfunction. When I do something, as soon as I pour my heart into it, I'm like ready to move on to the next thing. And I did that with this book. Thank God I didn't do this with this book. And the reason I didn't do this with God Talks, I want to let you know, just telling you the story. The reason I didn't move on as quickly after God Talks is because of Nicole Gephardt, who you're going to hear from in a little bit. When I was writing God Talks, I was ready to write the book, move on. She came to me and she said very directly to me, she goes, "Ed, I don't know if you know this or not, but this book is a 10-year," she said, "this book is a 10-year brand." And all of a sudden I looked and I realized, oh man, there's a certification program, there's products, there's events that we could do around this whole thing. And I have to say, I put my feet into the ground for 3 years now. This book's almost been three is almost 3 years old. I put my feet into the ground and said, this is going to be it. My goal in life and my mission in life is to teach people how to hear the voice of God and how to have it transform their lives by having it transform their mind. And that came from outside advice. It came from somebody who cared enough about me and had seen maybe some patterns in my life, in my business, to be like, look, this is a 10-year brand. Now the truth is, this is like a 200-year brand. Okay, like we got plans for this thing to go for a really, really long time. But part of the reason that I tell you the journey of all these books that I just kind of toss on the floor, is to show you, like, God Talks came out in 2023. That was 15 years after I wrote my first book. Now, I'm not suggesting that it's going to take you 15 years. By the way, this book is like the gift that keeps on giving. Okay, we sell on average typically way over 1,000 books per month. Royalties, because we self-publish, or at least I should say sort of like hybrid publish. This book royalties come in about $6,000 to $8,000 every single month. I don't know about you, but $6,000 to $8,000 a month doesn't sound too bad, especially when it's like a side income. That the royalties from the book, I don't even consider like part of our income stream that much. It just kind of shows up. It's not like something that we work for, or events or something like that. But what's really amazing about this particular book are the stories that I get. And there's literally not a week that goes by that I don't hear a story. And I'm just like looking, for example, we've got a little over 300 people watching live on Zoom right now. And I would dare tell you, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can. I would dare say there's at least 100 people, like literally right on chat, whose lives have been changed because of the message of the book. Like I saw Gail Kreitz on here, one of our God Talk certified coach. I've seen, I saw Chris Castillo and Shelby Castillo, Wendy. I literally could go, Glenn, Deborah. I could literally go name by name about people whose lives have been changed because of this book. And I got to tell you, like, if that doesn't give you goosebumps, then like your goosebumper is not, like, literally, I've got goosebumps. Your goosebumper is not working if that doesn't give you goosebumps. When you can share something in a book and it changes someone's life, it's like the greatest thing ever that ever happened to you. And you would do it for free. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. Like, I've made, at this point, I mean, just kind of being very transparent with you and just kind of being very full disclosure. At this point, from God Talks, we've probably brought in well over $2 million. Okay, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying the reality of what we've done. I would do it for zero. I would have paid money. I would travel the world. I would have done this to be able to share this message and change people's lives. Like, I just saw it from Sally Ann Thompson. Sally Ann has an extraordinary story where God brought her back literally to where before she was born, and healed some wounds in her life that totally transformed her life. That's the power of a book. That's what a book can do for you. And the book, oh yeah, we've got more, by the way. I just remembered there's a book, God Talks in Spanish. Estoy practicando mi español. Se me olvidó todo, pero estoy practicando. There's a book right behind me called God Talks for Kids. Okay, so we went from like my 6th book to the 6th book in Spanish to the 7th book, and here we are. And literally, like 2 weeks ago, I was on Glenn Beck. We sold a couple thousand books, like, just from that particular show. Like, it's been extraordinary to see. We've been on 700 Club, Sid Roth. Some of you have seen me on Flashpoint. I'm typically on Flashpoint like once a week. All of that opened up because of a book.